What's up, money lovers, and hello, oracles. Welcome back to another episode. What are we on? Episode 4 already
Oh
here.
yeah, four is my lucky number.
Look at that. Well, it's a lucky day. I'm feeling pretty blessed. Just hit a long-term goal of mine. Finally got 1,000 subscribers. So
Nice, awesome. I saw you at 9.99. I was looking forward to it. Awesome, I love it.
yeah. So I want to thank everyone and you, Tim, for definitely helping me out here and promoting my channel a little bit. And I really love doing these deep dives into Tesla we got going on here weekly. So what do we got? What's new this week?
Oh my God. So we got the FOMC meeting. We got the market loving that information. It seemed like on Wednesday we had so much clarity just come through. Like Russia, Ukraine is still going on, but it seems like it's either stale or they're making progress. And then the Fed, initially when the numbers dropped, the market started pulling back, and I thought that's what was going to happen. I figured it was more of a like buy the rumor, sell the news, because we knew that was going to happen. But then Jerome Powell gave us all the information we wanted to hear, clarity throughout the entire course of the year, literally their whole plan for the whole year. And the market's like, all right, we're good. So now we'll start buying back in.
The bull run is back on.
Yeah, and now I still don't know how long it's going to last, because obviously I think right now though, I think we're in a good place where we could take it month to month, and we can go month to month, see CPI, see how the Fed's actions are affecting inflation. We already know that the next 2 months are going to be much higher on the CPI. So I think we may see more green days than we have seen red in the past. But I still don't know if we're in the clear
Not
yet.
fully out of the woods. Yeah, no, definitely still some big uncertainties out there. It is amazing though that a few words, just a confirmation what it'll do to the market sentiment. And yeah, hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah. And I did notice that the volume was a little bit higher on Wednesday, which was a great sign, because that means that big money dumped some money in. Now, the thing that I did notice was it wasn't a lot. So obviously we know we're still cautionary for the next year or so. But it did seem like they felt comfortable enough to put some money into the market and buy it at those levels. So we can now see those levels as a good level to be at if we do get a secondary pullback.
Yeah, definitely. And Tesla, we got Musk saying master plan part 3 is coming now. So
Oh yeah,
that'll push the stock up a little bit. What are you thinking? You have any ideas or should I recap part 1 and 2?
Because I don't even know what part 1 and 2 are, because I've been so busy with work. I haven't had a chance to even dive into that. So I definitely could use a recap.
Yeah, so and I'm sure everyone watching. So Elon Musk has published 2 of these so far, his master plans for Tesla. The first one I believe was in 2006. The second one was 2016. So part 1, basically it was like a long blog post, but the TLDR was the 4 goals were to build a sports car, use that money to build an affordable car, use that money to build an even more affordable car, and then while doing the above, provide zero emission electric power generation options. So I think they hit all 4 of those goals.
Yeah.
Then for part 2, the goals were to do the solar roofs with battery storage. Check. Expand the electric vehicle product line to address all major segments. I'd say it's getting there.
Yeah, we're not
like half a star on that one. Develop a self-driving capability that is 10 times safer than manual via massive fleet learning. Also getting there, maybe like a third or a half. And then enable your car to make money for you when you aren't using it. So that one we're definitely not at yet. So he's got like a solid, maybe we'll give him 2 out of 4 for that one.
Yeah. And so for master plan 2, I would say, based upon the information we've been given, he'll probably end up hitting all of those by 2025. I would say. And even if we don't have like every major vehicle out there, I have no doubt we'll at least know the information and it's going to be in the works.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was actually reading in one of his reports, he was saying how, the other 2 major types of vehicles, they definitely, I think you could make the argument that the consumer is good. Like whether or not we probably will see the 25K car, but like if the goal continues that, the Model 3 over time, let's say, and Y continue to decrease in price, then they've got all the consumer bases covered, I guess, in the Cybertruck. But so the other two vehicles that he had actually mentioned in part 2 of his master plan, where that the other two would be heavy duty trucks and high passenger density urban transport. So we know we have the Tesla semis, the Cybertrucks, but that's an interesting one. The passenger for urban, like
he did say that they're working on a van.
Yeah. So yeah.
So and I don't know if, I'm sure it's on the drawing table somewhere. I don't know how far into it they are, but I do remember he mentioned a van coming.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting just because like we've seen the semi, we've seen some prototypes. It's definitely like a thing, but the van, I feel like, yeah, it's still just not really developed yet. I guess maybe that'll be next. I mean, they obviously have their hands full with the SE. As I always mess this up. It's supposed to be the Model E, S3, X, and Y, and then the semi and the Cybertruck. I mean, they're not going to do the van anytime soon if they don't have the supply chain to be able to handle the Cybertruck and semi that still don't exist.
Right. Well, I think with the van, and I'm almost wondering if, I've seen and heard a lot of stories about inner cities that are going to be utilizing these basically shuttles as robo-taxis. So I'm wondering if they're waiting for FSD to come full circle, and then they'll just have vans that are out there, because
that's a really good point.
I know GM on their show, when they had their thing a couple of months ago, were showing like a van type, almost like a Pope-mobile, but it was a van, and you just have like a bunch of people sitting in it and it drives itself.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm wondering if Tesla's going to have something like that. So for mass transit, because you think about it, when Elon was talking about robotaxis being on the road, traffic is going to be way, way worse than it is now. So if you can get a van that's going to take, 10 to 15 people and move them versus having 10 to 15 vehicles on the road, that would be significant.
Yeah, that's a great point you made. And yeah, I remember the GM van, it's, I think the 4 passenger seats are facing each other.
Yeah.
No need for a steering wheel, but that would make a lot of sense. Once FSD is like ready to go, then this would be a lot more practical probably and efficient.
Oh yeah. So, and now if he's got all that already set in master plan 2, I mean, master plan 3 obviously isn't going to reiterate what he already had for master plan 2. So I'm wondering, I mean, TeslaBot's got to be in there. I wonder if he's going to incorporate a mix with SpaceX. I wonder if he's going to incorporate that and have the Tesla bots are going to help us get to Mars. He said in his tweet the other day that 2029 we will have humans on Mars. And I have no doubt that Tesla bot's going to play a role in that. So Tesla bot clearly is going to be in his master plan 3. It can't not be in there. I don't know if he's going to take energy storage to the next level, or if he would think that's in master plan 2, but energy storage is a huge one too. They've already got full communities running on it. Look at Australia, got huge areas running on Tesla solar. So,
yeah, there's definitely a lot there. And the Tesla solar, I could see I don't know, because it depends on what he meant. Like if it's solved already, or like could the next phase be something like those virtual power plants, where your whole neighborhood basically combines and puts money back on the grid when it's needed, making you money, doing it maybe at a larger scale. But I could also see that like kind of being already covered in part 2. So probably
maybe not. Maybe because it's Elon. So Elon is so far beyond all of us. I wonder if that next step is going to be converting our current electrical grid to renewable energy and updating and helping to update the entire grid. Because if that comes out and he says he's looking to update the entire grid, the stock's going to be off the charts. I mean, talk about an S curve in energy that's going to be just massive.
Yeah, it's definitely like they're going to have a lot of extra money, and that I could see that too. That would make sense. They're going to have to start putting all this money towards something. What are they going to do with all the extra profit they're making, crushing the competition?
Well, they have to start up the college.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah. What was I going to say? So the all the companies, I agree with you. So definitely something with the bot, obviously, maybe more of an outline of like the bots are going to be used in the factories first, and then we're going to get, you know, a bot that will start to replace human labor, and maybe even like a humanoid type bot. And then as far as like, yeah, partnering with SpaceX, it has to be like, there's no way that all these companies do not eventually, I don't know that they become the same company, but they're going to work off of each other.
Oh yeah.
Boring, SpaceX, Starlink, that's, you know, segment of SpaceX, obviously, and Tesla. Yeah, definitely could see something with the bots. You know, he's got the full Mars colonization stack. He's got the rockets of SpaceX. We're gonna get Tesla will supply vehicles, and now they're gonna supply, you know, robots that'll, you know, help build the city. And yeah, it definitely all fits together. Like there's
I mean, he's literally building Total Recall. I mean, this is what he's doing. Because like with the Boring Company, and I made a video about this previously. It was, when you get to Mars, you obviously can't be on the surface. You know, you can't withstand the elements until you get something built. The Tesla bots are great. They can withstand the elements, not a problem. But if you've got the Boring Company that can create an underground civilization and a place for you at least to start building, I mean, that's where it's going to be. I mean, so you're right. And I don't know if in his master plan, he's going to lump all of the companies together and talk about it, but that's realistically what it is. I mean, we've all talked about it. Starlink is their communications. Starship is the way they're going to get there. Tesla bots are going to be the way to get up there and do it. Boring Company up there. You know, it's all of it together. So, and AI obviously is going to be a huge piece of Master Plan 3.
Yeah, I agree. And Starlink, well, I was reading something recently. I forget that, you know, Tesla vehicles can basically, was it a law was passed or something that they're either allowed or are now able to connect to Starlink?
So all I had read, and this is what I got from Ukraine, was when people are trying to travel around, because obviously they're trying not to stay in one place and they're so mobile over there, was Elon was talking about how they were going to put an update out there, because previously the satellite dish had to be stationary. And he was sending out an update so that you can be mobile with the Starlink dish. So I don't know if future Teslas would have Starlink built in. Personally, I think this might be part of the Cybertruck package, especially if, you know, people are like, hey, I want the camping package with Starlink built into it. I know I'm going to be all over that if that's an option.
Solar panel on the back, you'd be fully self-sustainable in the out in the wild.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. And then thinking about it, I mean, obviously he built it and it looks like it should be driving on Mars. And that's probably what he'll send up there as a Cybertruck.
That would definitely make sense. Yeah, and I forget what it was. I'll have to find the article. It was something else about Starlink, like connectivity with Teslas, but I did see the Ukraine thing too. He's doing a lot to help them. That's really cool. I'm trying to think other statistics I just saw recently. Tesla has 21% of the German market of EVs. One of every 5 Tesla sold in Germany in February was, or did I say Tesla? 1 in every 5 EVs sold was a Tesla in February. They don't even have Gigafactory Berlin yet.
And I was reading, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tesla, the Model 3 and Model Y were the #1 and #2 selling vehicles over there. Was it vehicles or EVs? That I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was both. I'll look it up. But yeah, I mean, that would make sense if they were the best selling overall. I think it was for both.
Yeah. And it's crazy because they haven't even opened Berlin yet. So just wait till they open Berlin.
Yeah, I wonder.
And I'm hearing stories about people in Shanghai saying that the quality of build in Shanghai is better than the quality of build in Fremont. And then talking about, you know, the German build ones and looking at, you know, we saw the picture of the Model 3s lined up, and my goodness, that was beautiful. So thinking about, you know, them putting that into there, just imagine if the Shanghai builds are so good, what are the Berlin builds going to be like? And maybe the Austin builds will be just as good, just because it's coming out of Austin in a new factory rather than Fremont. But really looking forward to, you know, because obviously quality is one of the things that people talk about. Even the Tesla bulls have to admit the quality of the vehicles can sometimes be questionable. So it would be nice if they can really,
especially during production ramps.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, which is so like now I'm like half torn because I want to get my Model Y out of Austin, but it's going to be one of the early ones. So do I really want to get it out of Austin?
Yeah,
I
well, at
don't
least I feel like there's, it'll be like little cosmetic things, like there'll be like a dent or like some, fingerprints.
Yeah.
Like but yeah, I don't know, might be worth waiting a little longer for
Yeah,
that.
I mean, if it's got a little panel gap, that's one thing, but I'm like, yeah, and I don't even know because now we're talking about maybe like a standard range or a standard range plus Model Y that could potentially have a lithium iron phosphate, 4680 battery structural pack in it, which is totally not what I'm getting. And I wouldn't change it to that because I want the long range. But I'm like, so where are we at with this? So I really want some clarity because right now my Model Y is currently on hold. So they told me I kicked the can down the road. They're holding it till the beginning of April, and then they're going to set me up with another vehicle. And I'm just waiting till they send me with a VIN number that's got an A in it, so I know it's from Austin. But as I'm kicking it down the road, I'm like, I'm waiting to find out, and I'm hoping we'll find out at GigaFest what is going on with the 4680s. Because if they say that the long range isn't going to get it for a while and they're only going to do the standard range plus with it, then I'll be like, you know what, I'll just take my Model Y. I don't even care where it comes from at this point because I know it's not going to have a 4680 in it. I would prefer that, but I'll wait. I'll wait till I get my Cybertruck to get the 4680 batteries.
Right, right. Um, Going back to what you had said about the precision of the picture of, there's a picture of all these Model 3s lined up or Ys, and such great precision. It makes you wonder if it was even done by a human or was that the full self-driving capability. Either way, yeah, I could definitely see the highest build qualities coming out of Germany. I mean, they definitely have the reputation for that, so that would make a lot of sense. So they've
Oh
probably,
yeah.
I mean, what I could see is like Shanghai maintaining most efficient. They're going to pump out the most, and then
Oh
maybe
yeah.
Germany build quality is even better. Not that there's anything wrong with the Shanghai ones. Each factory will have its own little specialty that they're known
Oh
for.
yeah. Yeah, and I think that's great, and I think that's what Elon is kind of doing it because now each factory is going to have their own, like you said, their own flavor. Shanghai, they really want to have a design, so I really think that the compact car is going to be designed fully and built over in Shanghai because that's what they're looking forward to, and that there is now going to be like, all right, we have a Shanghai, this is our thing,
That would
and the
make sense.
Germans.
Yeah.
And now the Germans are here with obviously all the bad taste in everybody's mouths because of the delays and red tape and bureaucracy. So now they're going to come out and be like, all right, we need to, wash this out of everybody's mouths. And we're going to start pumping out the best quality vehicles we possibly can to be like, this was worth the wait. And I have a feeling that's going to happen in Berlin and they're going to show us and it's going to be awesome.
And then Texas will be, the Cybertruck headquarters because all us Americans love our pickup trucks. It'll be the
Oh yeah. Well,
capital
because
for that, definitely.
everything's bigger in Texas, and that's why the Cybertruck is coming out of there.
Exactly. And that makes a lot of sense with Shanghai. Of all the countries, China probably could use the compact car the most, just being the most population dense. And yeah, having the second factory, having the additional battery capacity there now that they're building, that would make a lot of sense. But then again, gonna need a lot of batteries for the Cybertruck and the semi as well. So maybe this will all be outlined in Master Plan Part 3. We'll have to wait and
Oh
see.
yeah. Yeah, and then thinking about Panasonic opening up a battery factory strictly for Tesla, potentially Oklahoma, Kansas. I think South Carolina was on the list also. But to have a battery factory strictly designed for Tesla is obviously going to help with the battery ramps as well.
Right. I'm looking here. Tesla stock closed today 871, up another almost 4%. So over the last 2 days, well, yesterday my joke was I made an annualized average market return in 1 day adjusted for inflation. I had like a 6% return on the portfolio yesterday, when the bull run started. Temporary, we'll see. But
Yeah.
And then I took off the 7% for inflation. And then today Tesla's up almost another 4%. Pretty wild turn of events. I mean, still deep in the red, after it's only up 1% in the past month, still down 27% year to date.
Oh yeah, still beat down, but I'm like, you know what? My portfolio was up 5.5% yesterday, 3.5% again today. Tomorrow, I'm assuming we're going to get a little bit of a sell-off. We've had 3 green days in a row, which we haven't had, I think, all year long. So yeah, it's just natural. There's been a lot of I'm looking at NEO has been up I think NEO's up like 40% in the
All
last
the
3
Chinese
days.
stocks had that crazy rally after the
Oh
government
yeah.
reassured everyone. The Chinese
Yeah.
government, BABA went up 20% in one day. Yeah, I
Oh
think
yeah.
Neo
Same with NEO.
too.
And I was like, and looking at NEO, like, so I've got 9 shares. I wanted to buy a 10th because I like to my nice round numbers. And I had a buy order in for it at $13. And it was like down to like 13.20 and never triggered. But I've been buying in like 15, 14 just to lower my cost basis. But I missed that $13 one, and then it shot up to 19. But hey, whatever. I think they're going to do fine long term, and it was nice to have them get bailed out. But some of these stocks, I mean, like Square up huge over the last couple of days. Some of my ones that are really beat down, Sunlight Financial, out of so weird. I looked at SUNL and I was talking about it tonight on my video. Um, I'm looking at that, and that's been like slowly creeping up from 250. It's now at 525. There's like no news about what's going on. And I bought into it when it was, over $10, brought my cost basis down to just under $8. Didn't buy any more because I wasn't really sure about it, didn't have a lot of confidence in it. And now it's creeping back up. It's got earnings on Monday. So, if it pops, I don't know. I've got to get some information on it to see if I want to sell it just for free up cash or what.
It'll be interesting the next few days. Definitely could, we're not out of the woods yet.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I think with Neo, those are probably some pretty good prices. I go back and forth on Neo because I'm like, I have a small position, but do I like, I haven't bought any more lately. I'm like, do I just put this money in Tesla? It's like a for sure, more certain thing, my highest conviction play. Whereas Neo is a little trickier with all this, China stuff, and it's just harder to get, info. Like, yeah, obviously, as with American companies, a lot more open.
Oh yeah. Well, the way I looked at it with the Chinese stocks, going back to Sandy Munro's video, knowing that the Chinese are really doing well with EVs. So, if we get to that point where in 2030, the market is Tesla and Chinese EVs, I want to have something in it. And, I don't have a lot of money in NEO, but I will continue to add a little bit here and there to keep them as like, 3 to 5% of my portfolio, maybe a little bit less.
Mhm.
But, I'll keep them in there. That's my only Chinese stock that I've got. But at these prices, thinking 10 years down the road, if the stock hits $1,000, me buying in at 15, $20, that's a huge win over the next 10 years. I'll totally take it. So I
Right.
don't mind keeping some money in that. I'm not going to sell out of NEO. I'll hold
I
on to that
agree.
unless something completely collapses. But I think the Chinese government and the whole economy there is going to do well over the next 10 years too.
Right. I know. I agree. Neo is a small position of mine as well. And that's kind of my reason for keeping it. It's like my little hedge insurance policy, and just taking what Sandy Munro and everyone says into perspective. Yeah, there's a good chance that China is going to be the leaders up there with Tesla. So I feel like it can't hurt. I don't believe in it as much as Tesla, obviously, but yeah,
Oh,
to
yeah.
allocate a little bit, they do show a lot of promise.
Yeah, because there's actually, let me take a look and see exactly in my portfolio. NEO is, what, do I not have my percentages on? Come on. Yeah, it's like 2%. So 2% compared to the 55% that I have for Tesla. So
Right.
that's how I weigh the two of those.
It's funny, it's tough. Like when everything was down so much, also prioritizing like which one am I going to buy? And I basically elected to, I didn't put any more in Neo. I've been putting some more into Tesla. I have my silly little Tesla buying system now. So, since I've been buying Tesla since 2019, my cost basis I think sits just under like $150 a share. And so I didn't want to like ruin my cost basis because it's so beautiful to look at. So I started like a separate account that's for more speculative stuff.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like my Chicken Genius, his itchy fingers account for like when he wants to do
Oh
things
yeah.
stupid. So I figured, let me do minimize my damage here. So like this is my little more speculative account. What I've been doing is every Tesla I see on the road, I'll put $10 into it. And that's how I've been buying my new Tesla shares. So we just took a recent road trip up from South Carolina to New York a couple of weeks ago, and I counted 178 Teslas on the road. So I'm going to be dollar cost averaging that one in. But and it's crazy though. My point I wanted to make was year over year, we did the same trip last year, and I saw at least 3 times as many Teslas this year. Maybe we saw
Nice.
50 the last time, so another
Oh
bullish
yeah.
bullish sign.
Yes, absolutely. And I've been like, and I asked my subscribers the other day the same thing. I was like, have you guys been seeing more Teslas out there? Because I had like friends from all over the place because they know that I'm talking about Tesla and I'm talking about buying my Tesla. And I'm like, hey, my dad just picked up his, and I was like, oh, he's got like literally the exact same one that I'm getting. I was like, does he want to give it to me? Uh, but yeah, more and more people are telling me that they're buying them. I see way more of them all the time.
Seeing a ton. A friend of mine just bought one too. I mean, they're multiplying.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's crazy, and I mean, and it's a great thing to see, especially as an investor. And it's crazy because like I would ask my subscribers and said, with Tesla raising all their prices up right now, how do you feel about it? Because obviously from an investor standpoint, that's awesome. From a consumer standpoint, it stinks. But looking at the demand, it just keeps on going up. And it seems like when they crank their prices up, the demand goes up because people are like, oh crap, I have to go and get a Tesla on order
Yeah,
now
it creates more
before the prices
urgency.
go up even more. And
Could be a
so
good marketing ploy there too. Yeah.
yeah, and it's not scaring people away. It's absolutely bonkers. I mean, so I'm really curious. We'll see production delivery numbers in a couple of weeks. So I'm really curious on Q1 earnings where margins are going to be. Because I
Mhm.
think if they're over 25, that's going to be awesome. If they're over 30, forget about it. We're going to be going to the moon because
Oh
with
yeah,
a
that would be incredible with all that's happening and supply chains and two ramps at the same time. That would be like
oh
insane.
yeah. Yeah, and looking at that, and Shanghai was down for 2 days for production this month, so that's going to be reflected in Q1 numbers. And so, when I'm looking at Elon and his tranches, he has the one tranche left, and he has to hit 30% margins 4 quarters in a row, and he's got two. But now we're going into two factory ramps. Are we going to get there? And my goodness, if we get there, I mean, thinking about the first 2 quarters of two factories ramping, hitting 30% margins next year when both of them are at full ramp, I mean, we could be hitting 35% margins.
That would be incredible. And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, nothing is off, off the table. They could definitely do it. I'm excited once these two factories are fully ramped and just pumping out cars. I mean, those margins like are gonna look insane. They could go up another
Yeah.
10%.
Yeah, I mean, and Elon stated previously that his goal is to get them to 40% margins. So, I mean, they might get to 40% margins with the four factories. We might, who knows how much higher they can go. And we haven't even factored in FSD or AI, which is super high margins. So
It's
I wonder if he's going to factor that into his master plan, margins of 50%. Who knows?
that would be nuts, like iPhone type profit margins at that point.
Oh yeah. And actually, if he comes out with his master plan and says his goal is to hit 50% margins, we might see a massive run in the stock.
That's a great point too. Yeah, I wouldn't. That could definitely be on there too. Yeah, it has been interesting to see. You think with them increasing the price, would the demand slow down? Not showing any signs of slowing down anytime soon, and so I mean, it should just be offsetting the additional costs. But so I don't know if that actually will add anything to their profit margins. It'll help them not go down, obviously. That'll be interesting to see, and it just goes to show you Tesla's brand and what they're basically selling software at this point, and they have the pricing power to do it. Like the fact that they can do this, they've been raising the what are the how much are they up? 3,000, I think, for the Y and the 3.
It was 3,000 this last one, but they did
They
1,000
did
last week,
2.
so it was $4,000 total for the last week.
So yeah, I mean the fact that they keep doing that and then the demand, stays steady. I mean they really have the pricing power. Like
Oh yeah, and actually, one of my subscribers pointed out, and I mentioned the other day, it didn't even cross my mind, the fact that right now still Teslas are more on the high end. It's your average worker isn't going to be able to go out there and get themselves a Tesla right now. It's just not realistic. So that's probably why demand hasn't waned at all, because the people who are buying them are the people who aren't really affected by inflation or gas prices going up.
that's
So
true.
now they have the luxury of being like, you know what, gas prices are going up. I'm going to move over to an EV. I've got the money to go do it. And, raising the price $4,000 doesn't scare me away.
Right. That's like those celebrities who they got some heat for. I think they were tweeting like I don't care if gas goes up to, $15, I'm going to buy an EV. And they're like, all right, well, that's good for you. What about the 90% of America? Just shows the detachment. But
Oh yeah.
um,
Yeah, because gas prices right now, the take home money for people is, like I get $8 in my paycheck to take home because all the rest is going to gas.
it's crazy. And that's definitely inflation. I mean, I, I don't even know at this point. It doesn't seem like it's gonna, a 0.25% rate hike. I mean, that's not gonna slow things down, I
Yeah.
don't think.
No, the way I'm looking at inflation right now, though, is once we hit the year over year numbers are going to start to look better naturally because we were so high last year. The March and April numbers are going to be higher because oil prices were up, but oil prices have already started to come down. So the gas prices should come down. Obviously, they're not because the oil magnates decide that they want more profits. And so the prices will come down. So the next 2 months will be high, but then I think we're going to start to see the May, June, July numbers, we're going to see those start to inflect down. It's the month over month numbers, obviously, is a bigger concern because we want to make sure that month over month we're still coming down. And so if we do and we start to see that inflection down, I think it'll be good and natural. I don't know with the rates going up if that's really going to make a huge difference. Jerome Powell obviously gave us the clarity. He said end of the year we're looking to be at around 2% interest rate and 4.3% inflation. So, that's good numbers. We have a target to go for. And my thoughts on that are we'll be in track for that. May could be that double bottom if the inflation comes in at double digits and the Fed decides that they want to do a 50 basis point hike instead of 25. That could cause a little bit of a freak out, but that would be a short-term freak out and an amazing time to buy because then the stocks are going to go back up because we've already caught the inflation to bring it back down. And then going into midterm elections, who knows what side is going to utilize this in their favor and try to float their votes and be like, hey, we're going to work on inflation and get it down. And then magically it'll go away because it's going to inflect down anyway. Because I think at that point, Americans are going to be tired of spending so much money. And then I can see end of the year, we might actually come in under 4.3% and get that rally from November through December.
I could definitely see that happening. Yeah, like by some miracle before the midterm elections, I'm sure inflation will go away magically.
Yeah, and I joke around and I say magically, but we think about the black swan events, or we talk about gaps filling on my channel all the time. And people are like, well, why would the gap fill? What causes the gap fill? And then, oh, hey, there's a war with Russia and Ukraine, and guess what? The gap got filled. I'm like, the most random stuff happens, and then the gaps get filled. And so it's like, is this really something that is controlled by someone else? What's actually going on? All I know is that stuff magically happens all the time. And so I don't put anything past our government. Who knows what they're utilizing in their favor, but I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, if we get, I mean, that makes sense. If the rate hikes go up to 2%, even if there probably will be one or two, maybe as inflation, if it does worsen, they have to do a 0.5% rate hike, and it'll cause like a temporary setback, like you said. Trying to think what other.
I'm just concerned about it because I'm trying to buy my house. And I just finished my classes last week for real estate. I've got my test next weekend and I have to do the state test. And once that's done, then I can buy my house. But interest rates for mortgages are now over 4%. And I'm like, I was like, I want to get in. I want to get this house.
I know. Yeah. I'm
and the housing prices aren't coming down yet. So usually every percent it goes up, housing prices come down 10%. Haven't gotten there yet. So maybe I'll be timing it right. And maybe I'll get like a 4.5% interest rate with housing prices coming down. I don't know. It's going to be tight. All I know is that having assets is the best way to go. So I'm going to be holding it long term. So even if I get in with a 5% interest rate on a little higher buy, whatever.
Definitely. I'm in the same boat, looking to do the same soon. But yeah, it's just brutal. The prices go up and the interest rates are going up. The housing prices aren't coming down. There's too much demand, it seems like, still.
Oh, I know. Yeah, there's still a lot of money sitting out there. But again, if you're looking long term for anything, if you're looking 10 years out, you'll be fine in the long term. And I'm looking for it more as cash generation anyway, rather than an appreciating value, which I know will happen eventually. But it's more cash generation for me.
Right, right. Yeah. And just like with stocks, it's thinking long term, 10 years, like you'd probably be good. Um, what was it? So the other big news, I guess, was Tesla Insurance is going to 2 additional states, Oregon and Virginia. So now they'll be in 5 states total. And I know Elon had said that Tesla's goal was to be in most states by the end of 2022. I don't think we're going to see that happen. Maybe we get to 20 or 25 if things really go smoothly. What do you think?
Yeah, and and they said obviously, it's tough because you have to go state by state. It's not like a federal thing where you can be like, all right, everybody, here's the blanket thing. Everybody has their own regulations and
Mhm.
stuff that you've got to go through. But they're obviously making progress on it. Zach Kirkhorn talked about it on the Q3 earnings call about how big it's going to be, and I think it's like a sleeper. Like a lot of people don't know, and I don't know. I would love to see I doubt they would do it now, but if they break out that revenue separately to see what they're getting for revenue from the insurance. But they also stated that they're going to start doing their own underwriting also. So talk about vertical integration. I mean, everything they do is all in house. So they don't have to use third parties for anything. And that keeps the cost down for all of it.
Yeah, all the time to short the insurance companies, I guess they're going to be losing a big chunk of their revenue. I was seeing the statistics they were showing of, you know, those on the Tesla insurance versus, the traditional insurances. Um, Depending on your safety score, you could save 20 to 40% on your premium. And if you have like the top notch safety score, you're talking 30 to 60% cheaper than what you would have to pay otherwise, which is incredible.
Oh yeah, and you think about it. I mean, Tesla obviously they've got the safety scores built right into the vehicle, versus a lot of other insurance companies. They've got to give you a device to put onto your car, drive around, and then you've got to drive like a grandma for a couple of weeks to get your ratings in a good place to get yourself a good rate. So Tesla already has that built into their vehicle, so they're all good to go there. And because they're so vertically integrated, they can keep their insurance costs down. And because of the way they do it, it's like, hey, you drove well for the last 2 months, so we're going to lower your insurance rate. You're not going to get that with any other insurance company. And a lot of the insurance companies I've talked to and people I've talked to who are trying to get their Tesla insured, they're like, most of the companies don't even know how to insure a Tesla because of the safety is so good, but it's still a higher value vehicle. So
Yeah,
that's why the rates are going to be so high, because
they're
they're
so
pricing it.
high.
Yeah, they're pricing it as a luxury vehicle versus as what it truly is. And yeah, so I mean, I'm hoping that maybe they'll have it in Connecticut so I can get Tesla insurance in Connecticut. But I will talk to my buddy who has his Tesla and see what he does.
Just another stream of revenue for Tesla that'll probably be mostly profit, especially once they're, full self-driving. The possibilities are really endless. I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's going to be a
yeah,
cash
and
machine.
oh yeah, and I'm just waiting. And we were talking before about what are they going to do with their money, and I'm like, the school. And when it's and I know Elon joked about it, but I don't think it's a joke. I think he's
I
really
don't
doing
think, yeah,
it.
I don't think it
And
jokes.
thinking about how vertically integrated the company is. What is the only thing they really don't have vertically integrated right now? And that's their talent. So if he can create a college where they can basically train engineers to be who they want them to be, they're vertically integrating their talent as
Yeah,
well.
that's
I
actually a
mean,
really interesting point. Yeah.
yeah, and I think about my son and I watch baseball all the time, and you guys got the guys coming up to the farm leagues, and the Yankees have a great farm system and always have, because they breed their own and raise them as Yankees. I think Elon's going to do that with his engineers.
That's truly the long term sustainability they're building. I mean, generations out that would affect.
Yeah, I mean, kids are going to kids are like, oh, do you want to go to MIT? No, I want to go to TIS. And and I mean, I think that might actually be announced this year. I'm
What is
wondering
it
if
going to be? It's the Texas Institute of Technology and
technology
Science,
and
is it?
science, yeah. So
Amazing.
that might be his master plan. He will probably have that in there.
I would not put it past them. I haven't heard anyone say that yet. That's actually like a really interesting. Maybe that'll be in the master plan. Yeah, that'll be wild. Wow.
Yeah, and so just the things that they have going on. Did he say, I hadn't gone through all the tweets. He didn't say when that was coming out. He just said soon, right?
No, he just, yeah, he said soon. I was reading, there were some funny replies to it, or people taking some guesses. But yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
how
Holmars
soon.
and Sawyer. Yeah, I was checking theirs out.
Yeah, it's funny. I guess to end on a fun note here, I was been thinking about, the creator economy is taking off, and we've talked. It relates to the metaverse. I'm sure they kind of go hand in hand at this point. But what companies would you see benefiting the most? I mean, I know I like personally Google, YouTube. Obviously, we're both YouTubers. I think that's a whole huge future industry that's only going to grow. And then I'm also starting to think more. I want to look into like Spotify, maybe even Netflix, but Spotify, like podcasts. The more I think about it, I mean, basically what I do with my channel is basically a podcast. It's mostly audio information. You could be driving and you don't really have to watch a video. You just listen to a lot of it, and a lot of YouTubers that could kind of go for, I'm sure. But so when you think about that, I think podcasts are going to be huge, and that's a huge part of Spotify's whole. They're kind of going all in on content creation with podcasts. So I guess what companies would you say are going to benefit the most from the new creator economy that continues to grow?
Oh man, I mean, I would say, Google with YouTube are going to be huge. Think about, we'd be able to have this conversation, but like in a live type setting. Anything like that's going to be huge. Thinking about people who do public speaking can now basically be in a virtual arena to speak to people, and you could go there and watch them in the arena live. So any platform that's going to be able to utilize that, YouTube obviously being a big one. Facebook, I think, unfortunately, is going to utilize it very well. So I think they're going to score big. Disney, I think, is going to be huge with it. I think they're going to end up doing some really cool stuff with the metaverse. And then any, I don't know, anybody else? Retailers, I think it's going to be something where retailers are going to have to get into it, but I don't think they're going to benefit. It's going to be more like if they don't do it, they're going to die. And so, and for bigger companies, man, Facebook, Google.
I like that pick too. That would make sense. The Oculus, if you're whatever, you're putting on a show, you just put on your headset and you don't have to go drive to, a big stadium or whatever anymore.
Oh yeah. Actually, you know what else might be great? So in Disney, another huge one would be sporting events. They've got ESPN. Hey, I
Yeah,
want to go watch the
that's a
Super
good point.
Bowl, but I don't want to pay $10,000 for a ticket. So I'll pay $100 to be able to watch it live. And by the way, here's your camera that you're going to be watching it from on the field. That would be really awesome. And I think some of the maybe the casinos will do well. So now you can actually go play poker live with people, like a DraftKings or any one of the casinos that are out there that have the online gambling. They might do very well with it as well. So now you can sit down at a poker table with people in a real virtual live situation.
Yeah, definitely. Possibilities are endless. I mean, the more we talk about the more use cases I realize, yeah, especially for with an Oculus on your head or whatever we end up with, Apple goggles, Google glasses. It'll be
Oh
interesting
yeah.
if we start seeing this stuff.
But from all the videos I watch though, like I know it's for safety reasons so that you don't hit a kid, but my goodness, watching these videos of like people running into walls, that's hilarious.
It is pretty funny. There's a lot of them. It's like what was that like two-wheel thing you stood on when that first came out? I
Well,
forget
the
what it's called.
segways, yeah. Or
Yeah.
no, it was man, one of my friends had one, her daughter had it, and it's so hard to ride because it's so narrow. I'm like, if I could
Mhm.
spread my feet out, it would be so bad.
Especially
But
indoors. I remember lots of videos of that. That was like
oh yeah.
all right. So I guess that's probably a good place to wrap up.
Oh
And
yeah.
we'll see you all next time.
Thanks everyone.
Bye.